So techies, when I studied for my PTCB exam, I learned to use one formula for solving for Celsius and Fahrenheit. Now there are two other formulas like these two that you can use to solve for Celsius and Fahrenheit, but I highly recommend, if you don't know either formulas yet, just learn how to do it with this one simple formula. It saves you a whole bunch of time. So 9C, C represents Celsius, equals 5. The F is for Fahrenheit, minus 160. You can use that to solve for Celsius and Fahrenheit. So some examples you may see on the exam is convert 65 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So basically I'm going to plug 65 degrees Celsius into my formula. So I'm going to do 9 times 65 equals 5F minus 160. So the goal is to solve for Fahrenheit, right? We want to know what the Fahrenheit equals. So I'm going to go ahead and do 9 times 65, and I'm just going to basically bring everything else down. So 9 times 65 equals 585 equals 5F minus 160. So the goal is to get Fahrenheit by itself, so 5F by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and add 160 to both sides, and that will cancel out my 160. So 585 plus 160 will give me 745. And I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 5F. So like I said, we have to get Fahrenheit by itself. So I'm going to divide each side by 5. And I will cancel out my 5 to leave Fahrenheit by itself. 745 divided by 5 will give me 149. Now here are some more practice questions for you guys. If you want to just pause this video, and then in the next clip I'll have the answers to each one of these questions. Alright techies, so now we're going to talk about some time conversion. So y'all, it's very important to be familiar with your times and be able to accurately convert your times without looking at a chart or a clock. Now techies, I'm not going to lie, I still use my fingers to calculate this. Like, it's so easy to use my fingers. I don't know it by heart just yet, but I did just learn this great tip. So depending on what type of conversions you are doing, you either have to add or subtract by 12 hours. So now let's go over a couple examples. So on the exam, you may be asked to convert into international time or standard time. So here are some examples, and here are the answers to these. So either I'm adding or I'm subtracting by 12. So 1 a.m. equals 0100 hour. 9 p.m. equals 2100 hours. So basically to get that, I just added 12 to 9, and that gave me 21. Alright guys, so now let's talk about Roman numerals. So Roman numerals are expressed as lowercase letters or capital letters, and are used to record amount or quantity of something. So y'all, there are so many different guidelines for interpreting Roman numerals, so let's go over them so you guys don't get confused. The very first one we're going to talk about is numerals are never repeated more than 3 times in a sequence. So techies, you will never see a numeral more than 3 times. So what's correct is XXX equals 30. That is correct, and 111 equals 3. What is wrong is you will not see 4X. 4X does not equal 40. XL equals 40. So remember, you never will see a numeral repeated more than 3 times. If you do, that answer is automatically wrong. The very next one is when a larger numeral is placed before a smaller numeral, you add. So V1, so V we know equals 5, and then 1 equals 1, so 5 plus 1 equals 6. Next one is when we see a smaller numeral come before a larger numeral, you subtract. So a smaller number before a larger number, you want to subtract the numerals. So V1, so we know that B equals 5, so 5 minus 1 equals 4. You can solve it these 2 different ways, but make sure you remember that it's always going to be positive numbers, no negative numbers. And the very last one is when a smaller numeral comes between 2 larger numerals, you subtract the smaller numeral from the other values. So LVX. So we know L equals 50, V equals 5, and X equals 10. So I'm going to do 50 plus my 10 minus 5, or you can do 5 minus 10. Just make sure positive numbers at the very end. And I'm just going to solve for that. So that's going to give me 55. So next, y'all, I want to show you how Roman numerals may be looked like on an actual prescription. Now, granted, you really won't see Roman numerals on an actual prescription when you're working in a pharmacy, but for the test purposes, I want to go over like some examples. So say you had a prescription for Betty White and her prescription said metformin D milligrams, the cig read 2 tablets BID with meals, dispense CXX. So say you have a question that says determine number of tablets taken each night. So we have to look at the cig, 2 tablets, and then if you didn't know, BID equals 2. So 2 tablets plus 2 equals 4. So they'll be taking 4 tablets each night. Another question you may get is how many tablets are prescribed? So that's when you look at the dispense. So the dispense have CXX. So C equals 100 and X equals 10 and X equals 10. So when we add those all together, that will give us 120. And another question may be asked is determine how many milligrams prescribed. So on the prescription, it says metformin D milligrams. So we all know that D equals 500. So there's going to be 500 milligrams prescribed for this prescription. Alright, so next we're going to talk about household measurements and a metric system. So guys, this is something that you just have to memorize on your own. I highly recommend going on Pinterest. They have great tips of memorizing it. I actually have a Pinterest and I have tips on it on there. Also, I'll have a link to that in my description below. Also, y'all, I love using Quizlet. Quizlet is a great app to help you memorize things. You can do quiz, you can even make your own test. And I'll have the link to my Quizlet down below too. And my very last tip is to find one method that works best for you and stick with that one method. So now we're going to talk about conversions within the metric system. So you can either do this by multiplying by 3 or dividing by 1000. So y'all, I don't like doing ratio and proportion and setting a whole problem. I like using this little chart. So kg, g, mg, and mcg. So a good example is going to grams to milligrams. I'm basically going to move my decimal places 3 places to the right. So say I have 0.654 and I want to do grams to milligrams. I'm basically going to go where my decimal point is and I'm going to move it 3 places to the right and it'll give me 654 milligrams. Now here are some other examples. You want to just pause this video and get the answers in the next clip. So now we're going to learn about converting body weight. So to do that, you're going to do 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. That's the only formula you're going to use to converting body weight. So let's go over an example. A patient weighs 62 pounds. What is her weight in kilograms? So you're going to basically put that formula out. So 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds equals X over 62 pounds. So all we're going to do is cross multiply. So 1 kilogram times 62 pounds equals 62 divided by 2.2 pounds, and that will give us our 28 kilograms. Now let's talk about Clark's rule and Young's rule. So Young's rule is based on the suggested dose of a child's age in years, and Clark's rule is based on the child's weight. So these are the 2 formulas you will use for it. Y'all just remember these 2 formulas because basically all you're doing is plugging in either the age or the patient's weight. So let's go over an example. So your 2-year-old child needs a dose of acetaminophen that has a suggested adult dose of 500 micrograms. So basically you're going to get that formula and you're just going to plug it in. So this one is going to be your Young's rule. So the patient's age is 2 years old divided by 2 plus 12 times 500. Now y'all, be careful when you're calculating this because if you would have just put that in the calculator, 2 divided by 2 plus 12 times 500, you're not going to get the correct answer. This took me a little bit longer to calculate, so I had to do 2 divided by, in parentheses, 2 plus 12, close parentheses, times 500, and that gave me the correct answer. So now we're going to talk about weight and volume and volume and volume. So weight and volume, just remember y'all that when you see a percent, that always means X over 100, and basically weight and volume problems involve adding a solid drug to a liquid, and there's a formula for that, y'all. You're basically going to plug in the answers into this formula and solve for weight and volume. And for volume and volume problems, you're basically involving mixing a pure liquid into another liquid, and there's a formula for that, y'all. So don't be afraid of these weight and volume problems. If you know the formula, it's super easy to plug it in and get the correct answer. Alright guys, so it's very important to know how to express these components. So remember that weight and volume is grams over mLs, and volume is mLs over mLs. And always remember percent means per 100, so divide by 100. So say you have something that's like the components of 10% dextrose. That is your weight and volume. And your 10 is your grams, so 10 grams over 100 mLs. And it's the same as components of 0.45% normal saline is just 0.45 grams divided by 100. And here's some examples of volume over volume. I just want to make sure you guys know how to set it up. As you can see, mLs over mLs and grams over mLs. Now let's go over a real question you may see in your exam since you know how to set it up. So if there are 30 grams of dextrose in 500 ml IV bag, what is the percent strength of this solution? So as you can see, we have grams and we have mLs. So that automatically lets me know that we're going to do weight and volume, because you know weight and volume involves grams over mLs, and volume involves mLs over mLs. So you're just going to basically plug that formula in. So I did X percent because we need to know what percent it is, equals 30 grams over 500 mLs, because that's what I have, times 100, and that gave me my 6%.